Hello, I am Jamie Dodson. I want to show you our newest facility for food processing. So what we're going to start with is what would be called the powerhouse, or the utilities for the factory, which is the building right here behind us. Here on the right, this would be focused on water treatment. As you can see, we have this building secured with badge access. So pretty standard equipment for water treatment. Incoming water is in the back of the room, the large pipe coming out of the floor. Water softening equipment, all the water in the factory is soft water. Where we are located has a lot of limestone in the ground, so it's very hard water. Also here on the right, this facility has a hot water network. Because we are food processing, we have a dedicated small boiler and storage tank to provide hot water to all locations within the factory. We worked with the contractor and the architect to design this factory with the intention that we expect large growth and room to expand. We'll move to the next room down, which should be compressed air. So not a lot in this room. Once again, a lot of free space for expansion, but there is one compressor and a set of equipment to dry the air, remove the moisture from the air. Compressed air is critical for a processing facility. The next room over, it will be the main electric room. So here in our main electric room, we have a separate service for this factory. So electric comes in from the utility. Outside of this room are the main transformers. That's fed underneath of the slab into this large switch gear. So this is what's utilized for all the power in the facility. Starts in this room. This is where we meter it. So one thing to note about the utility building, separate from the factory, that is done for a fire protection, security of the utilities, and to protect our food processing. It's a large piping network to supply all of that to the actual factory. So we have a large pipe bridge carrying all of those pipes over into the factory, including a lot of the electrical service also. So we're going to go around the back side of this powerhouse building where there's a set of stairs that will get us up in that location. Here at this location provides a good view of the pipe bridge and the network. This is a evaporative condenser part of the refrigeration equipment. We'll go take a closer look at the pipe bridge. The architectural firm that did this design, in my opinion, did an outstanding job. It's well laid out, easy access. You can see for a factory of this size, it takes a lot of piping to carry those utilities. Some of the work's still in progress, as you can see, still having to wrap up the insulation and the protective covering on that. Door at the far end, we'll head down there. That'll take us into the interstitial space, which is a space above production, below the roof, that allows you to run all your utilities and keep your production place clean. So here we are in the interstitial space. You can see ceiling height, floor height, the utilities coming in from off of the pipe bridge. A lot of electrical conduit run up here. And you can see we well utilize this space. All the utilities come from the powerhouse into this space, are distributed in this space. So right now we are moving into the farthest point of the interstitial space to give a broader view of the utilities. So right now, very back of the utility space, the interstitial space where all utilities are. And down here on our left, we probably have 200 feet of distance that contains all the sprinkler piping, the electrical conduit, and all of that type of material. And we have another probably 50 feet on our right where that space goes back. So at this point, I think we're gonna head around to the front of our building. We'll come in the main entrance as if we were an employee. Now we're here back in front of the factory at the main entrance. We're gonna enter the plant just as if we were an employee. This area right here, main lobby of the plant, we just came in the entrance. We have designed this to have a little bit of showmanship. So we've came in the main entrance of the plant. This would be the main entrance and only entrance for the factory. In this specific area we have now, down this hallway that we'll see is support areas for the employees, break rooms, bathrooms, etc. Then we will go in the other direction into our R&D department, research and development. This room here is a safety infirmary. When this plant gets to enough employees, we'll have a nurse stationed in the plant, and this is dedicated space for that. There is a men's room and a women's room. We will look at one. They are identical, but just mirror copies. So we'll take a look at one of them. So coming into the restroom for the men's, obviously lockers, our staff is expected and we work with them to provide uniforms, and we have to change when we come into the processing facility. So you have lockers in each space too. For both the men's and the women's, there's a shower facility for our employees to be able to take a shower. And then the other half of this space obviously is the restroom. So as we transition down here towards the end of the hallway for the employee area, and we have the break room for the employees. It has 2 entrances off this hallway. We're coming in the farthest one down. So, large break room, cabinets, sinks. We still obviously have to put some appliances, vending machines. That'll be happening over the next couple weeks. Refrigerators, microwaves, tables, chairs are on order, etc. But this is for the employees and all the staff. You'll notice that we have a lot of light showing here right now. Floor finishes. In this downstairs office area, all the way through R&D, we've left it as a troweled concrete with a sealer and a stain on it. This particular color happens to be called coffee. Color selection on the rest of the areas we did internally. We took some advice from the architectural firm, but we also pulled together a group of our employees and had them help select the colors. So as we leave the break room, we're going to go down to the far end of the hall. Some construction workers still down there, but we're going to go to the far end of the hall and look at our research and development area. So at this doorway here, I want to point out that we're badge scanned. Everything behind this door is considered security, and that'll give us the ability to control access of who can come in and out of this area. Obviously, research and development, managers, etc. So now we're in the R&D area, and we just came through the secured door. One of the interesting notes here, working with the architect, is the way this space is laid out. This will be a primary space we bring customers when we're talking new business, new products. As you come down this hallway, here on the left, this is of course just open office area. This is where the R&D staff will have their desks and their work areas and things like that. On the opposite side is the pilot plant. Down here, this is where we will put our testing equipment, where we will do limited production, recipe development, items like that. And then as we get on down through here, you'll come here and this is where the laboratory will be. So as you can see, the laboratory is directly connected to the R&D plant. So product development, laboratory benchtop work, this space with the windows looking in the hallways so people can look in and see, but not necessarily enter the space. While we're here in the laboratory, an interesting detail to point out is, for the example, the conduit and the offsets. This material is IMP, insulated metal panel. So it's a foam core with a metallic covering on it. But to be sanitary and for fire protection, we stand off all of the boxes with a gap space here. So in the event of an electrical short, it's not into the foam of the panel. Also, it's nice and easy and sanitary to clean, wipe, wash down, provide a nice sanitary facility. So now down at the end of the R&D department is the conference room. We'll take a quick glance in there. Pretty standard room, still need the table on order to be delivered in the next few weeks, but nice conference room, good visibility outside. So at this point, we've covered the downstairs area. We're going to take one final stop before we go into the production space, and we'll do a quick look upstairs in the office area. So heading upstairs, there is an elevator, as I referenced, to go to the second floor, but it's also a beautiful set of stairs I want to show off. As we transition into the second floor office area, you'll see, as biz modern standards, very open office plan. So the second floor area is the same dimensional size as the downstairs area we looked at earlier. Obviously, large open office. We have 4 segregated office spaces dedicated as needed. We have a conference room space dedicated, restroom, small break room. So here we are on the other half of the upstairs office area, individual offices. This large space over here we've dedicated for training area for our employees, orientation and training. This room right here, small room, 15 feet by 15 feet, it's the IT room. So it is a structurally sound, 2-hour fire rated. It's where all the network equipment, fiber optics are. So at this point, we're going to enter the main part of the production facility, transitioning from the office employee area into the actual production area. So fairly large building. All the way down at the end of our hallway, that is the exterior wall all the way down there. As we go down the hallway, we won't look at every space because some of them are at 0 degree Fahrenheit and is just an open room. On the left, on this side, is dry storage. So your typical manufacturing warehouse, nothing fancy. So as you can see, it's a pretty standard construction. Concrete floor, the whole factory is insulated metal panel built on a structural steel frame, sprinkler system. The little bit of HVAC or climate control is simply for freeze protection, heating. So at this part of the factory, everything we just walked past is incoming material. Center part of the factory, which we will look at last, is the actual production space We're food processing, so that would be what we would term as a food exposure zone. Open product, open food. The far end of the factory, of course, as it makes sense in a workflow, would be finished goods. Incoming material, production in the middle, finished goods, outbound shipping at the end. We're going to take one moment and look in just one of the refrigerated spaces so you can see an example of that area. Right now we're about 42 degrees Fahrenheit in here. So this is pretty standard construction of a refrigerated area. Insulated metal panel again. This wall will have a thicker depth due to the insulation value. Concrete curb at the base for forklift pallet protection, protects the insulated metal panel. Your sprinkler system design is a combination of wet systems and dry systems. Dry systems are needed if you're below freezing temperatures. As we go through the production area, there are some support auxiliary areas. Waste handling, electric rooms, maintenance areas for the staff. So we'll see them as we walk through. New factory, green initiatives, recycling material. This is our waste area. We have a typical compactor for your normal trash. We will also have facilities to be able to recycle metallic drums, corrugated, shrink wrap. Recycling is important to our company. So right now the production area has a corridor that goes all the way around. We came down a long corridor when we come in the factory. We came down a corridor adjacent to the production space, and we're in a corridor headed towards the maintenance area. As we do, we'll show off one area here on this side, which is one of the production spaces. So we're in one of the production spaces now. This is a support production space. This area is utilized for pre-weighing some of our ingredients used in our processing. Behind us is a flammable storage area. So some material may contain ethanol, methanol, alcohol-based material. So we're once again in the production space. One thing I want to note is we are directly below the interstitial space we were shown earlier. This is also the area where we have production offices for the direct manager. We have a quality control laboratory for testing and validating our products. And then as we move over, we're going to move over into another production space. This space is interesting as in it's the highest ceiling height in the factory. We've transitioned into the tallest part of the factory, production area. There's still a lot of construction activities happening here, installation of some of our equipment, but here we're 34 foot in clear height. The equipment we're installing required that high height in order to be able to perform maintenance on the equipment. So now we find ourselves in the largest room in the facility. This would be the room where the final material package is created for our products. Very large room, once again, underneath of the interstitial space, so all the utilities are above us. Also a good point to call out the tile that we saw in the earlier spaces, plus in this space. This is a 5-inch hexagonal tile. It's about 1 inch thick. It is extremely durable, chemical resistant, easy to clean, and most importantly for us, sanitary. So being a food processor, that was one of the key designs. Interesting detail that you can also see in this room is when I referenced that we have corridors all around the production space. The architect provided the advice of installing windows so that we could walk around the outside, look in the production space, and not actually enter the food exposure zone. As we approach completion of our tour, I want to take a minute and thank AWB Engineering. They were the architects on this project. This was a design build project. We knew what we wanted. They helped create the design. And we are very happy and looking forward to the completion.